You walk through the door, before your key is even fully out of the lock, you hear it. Nails scrabbling on the floor, a full body wiggle, maybe a sound that's somewhere between a bark and a cry of joy. Your dog acts like you've been gone for a decade, even if you just ran to the mailbox. And it feels incredible. It feels like love, pure, uncomplicated, the kind of love that doesn't ask questions or hold grudges. Here's the uncomfortable part. That feeling you just had? Watch closely, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's happening in your dog's mind in that moment, and it's not what you think it is. Ask almost anyone with a dog what their dog feels for them, and you'll get the same one-word answer: love. Nobody questions it. It's the most comfortable assumption in the world. Your dog loves you. Full stop, end of conversation. But here's the thing that almost never gets said out loud. Love, the way humans mean it, is a very specific kind of bond. Mutual, equal, built between two people who could, in theory, walk away from each other and survive just fine. What your dog has with you isn't quite that. It's something researchers can actually measure, name, and compare. And once you see what it actually is, you'll never watch your dog greet you at the door the same way again.
Let's start with something concrete. In 2015, a researcher named Miho Nagasawa and her team in Japan ran a study that's now considered one of the foundational pieces of evidence in this entire field. They measured oxytocin, the hormone associated with bonding, trust, and attachment, in both dogs and their owners before and after a simple activity, just looking into each other's eyes. The results were striking. When dogs and owners made extended eye contact, oxytocin rose in both species simultaneously, not just in the human, in the dog too. Here's the detail that makes this study famous. Dogs that had been bred and lived alongside humans the longest, and even hand-raised wolves, which don't share that history, showed dramatically weaker versions of this effect. The oxytocin loop wasn't just biology. It was something dogs specifically evolved to do with us over thousands of years that even their closest wild relatives never developed. Now, here's where it gets even more specific. A neuroscientist named Gregory Burns trained dogs to lie completely still inside an fMRI machine, fully awake, no sedation, so he could watch their brains respond in real time to different scents. He tested the smell of unfamiliar dogs, familiar dogs, unfamiliar humans, and finally the scent of the dog's own owner. Only one of those scents lit up the caudate nucleus, the brain's reward center, the same region that activates in humans when we anticipate something we love, more than any of the others. It wasn't food. It wasn't another dog. It was the smell of you. Let that sit for a second. In a controlled brain scan with no tricks and no guesswork, your dog's brain treats your scent as the single most rewarding thing it can detect.
So if the hormones match and the brain scan lights up like that, why are we even questioning whether this is love? Here's the distinction researchers actually draw, and it's a real one. There's a difference between a bond and an attachment. A bond, in the way humans usually mean love, tends to be reciprocal between equals, two adults who chose each other, who could function independently, who stay together because they want to, not because they need to. What your dog has with you is something psychologists studying dog-human relationships have compared to a completely different kind of bond, the one between a human infant and a parent. In the 1970s, a psychologist named Mary Ainsworth developed something called the strange situation, a test originally designed to study attachment between human babies and their mothers. The baby is left briefly with a stranger, the mother leaves the room, and researchers watch exactly how the baby reacts when she returns. Decades later, researchers including Joseph Topol ran a strikingly similar version of this exact test on dogs and their owners. The results matched human infants almost point for point. When the owner was present, dogs explored confidently. When the owner left, exploration dropped and distress rose. When the owner returned, dogs sought contact and calmed down quickly, what's called a secure base response. This is so important. Your dog isn't treating you like an equal partner. It's treating you the way a one-year-old child treats a parent, as the fixed point the entire world is allowed to orbit around. Now, here's where this stops being abstract research and starts being your actual dog. If your dog follows you from room to room for no reason at all, even just to lie down near the bathroom door, that's not boredom. That's the secure base instinct, keeping the fixed point in sight. If your dog has a brief dramatic meltdown when you leave for 30 seconds and then acts like nothing happened the moment you're back,
That's not short-term memory loss. That's the exact same pattern researchers see in human toddlers during separation and reunion. And if your dog would rather lie quietly near you doing absolutely nothing than go play with another dog in the same room, that's the tell. Other dogs are interesting. You are home base. If you just nodded at any of those, you're not imagining it. You're watching attachment theory play out in real time every single day in your own living room. Now here's where I have to be careful, because this video would be irresponsible if I let it sound like a downgrade. Attachment is not a lesser version of love. It might actually be a deeper one. Romantic love between adults can fade, get renegotiated, end. The bond between a parent and a small child, or between a dog and its person, operates on a completely different system. Total dependency, total trust, with almost none of the conditions adult relationships carry. Your dog isn't capable of loving you less because it can't love you more. It only has one mode, and you are the entire center of it.
Once you see your dog through this lens, almost every confusing behavior suddenly makes sense. Why does your dog get visibly distressed watching you cry, even if nothing is wrong with them? Because in attachment terms, your emotional state is their environment. If the secure base is unstable, the whole world feels unstable. Why does your dog seem to forgive you instantly after you accidentally step on its tail? Because a 1-year-old doesn't hold grudges against a parent either. The relationship is too foundational to risk over one bad moment. And why does research on fairness in dogs show they'll refuse to keep working if they watch another dog get rewarded for nothing? Because even within total dependency, there's still a baseline expectation. The secure base is supposed to be fair. When it isn't, something in that foundation cracks just slightly. So let's go back to that moment at the door. The wiggling, the noise, the joy that looked so simple. You opened this video wondering if that was really love. Here's the actual answer. It's not love in the adult, equal, optional sense you were picturing. It's something your dog literally cannot turn off, cannot withhold, and cannot direct at anyone else the way it directs it at you. You're not just loved by your dog. You are neurologically and psychologically the single fixed point its entire world is built around. That's not smaller than love. That might be the most total form of attachment that exists between two different species on this planet.
So the next time you walk through that door and get hit with the full body wiggle and the noise that's somehow both a bark and a cry, you'll know exactly what's happening behind those eyes. It's not a performance. It's not simple excitement. It's a 1-year-old mind, wrapped in fur, watching its entire world walk back through the door. If this changed the way you'll look at your dog tonight, there's another animal on this list whose relationship with humans is even stranger. Because unlike your dog, it never needed us to survive, and it still chose to stick around anyway. Subscribe if you want to keep finding out what's actually happening behind the eyes of the animals you thought you already understood.